Welcome to SEL in EDU.
where we discuss all things social and emotional in education.
I'm Krista.
I'm Craig, and we are your host on this journey.
This podcast is created in partnership with Pennsylvania ASCD.
Again, thrilled beyond words for our guest today. But before we introduce and welcome our guest, Krista, how are you holding up? How's your heart today?
Ooh. So normally when we start this off, I'm like, I'm great. It's good. It's this, it's that. And honestly, it's been a little bit of an up and down. That my middle child has some anxiety, and it every time that there's transition, it's fifth grade, eighth grade. And so he's been really struggling lately. And it makes me even more excited to hear from our guest today because he is an advocate an advocator, an advocate. And we are going to learn about advocacy. So, how do we help other people who are not able to express how they're feeling and share or are not being heard? So I'm excited to learn from today and apply it in my own personal context. How are you?
Well, I am honestly and earnestly like thrilled to be in space and time with both of you. And people are like, well, who are you on? I'm like, well, if you saw the tag, you already know who we talking to. But anyway, uh, one of the things that I carry in my spirit today is I am better today than I was yesterday. And I also recognize that there's going to be moments today where I might not be okay. And the question is just how am I actually navigating the day to day, even in the midst of the mess that is going on? Because there's a lot of stuff going on. Me personally, um, I am navigating just wanting to ensure that I continue to positively speak up, like the good stuff I can do. And it's been trying to shoot down that negative self-talk. Today, and we'll get to our guest, I tried to do a pull-up. I'm a cornbread fed fella. I got a little thickness on me. I got a little Louisiana hot sauce on me, baby. And so I tried to do a little pull-up on the machine. Woo, when I tell you, try to pull all that up, like you have you rethink your whole life right there in that moment. I think I might have died right on that machine, but it's okay.
We're gonna channel a little of our past guests, Craig Shapiro, with small actionable steps, and Jessica Holloway by saying, "Flip the frame, no negative self-talk." I bet in a couple weeks you're gonna be like, Krista, I did that pull up. I'll be like, remember?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, well, the guest today, I'm gonna just go ahead and get on into it, is a man who I just love and adore because he is an incredible human being who I have had the honor and pleasure of being on his podcast. And I've also participated in on one of his leading equity accelerators. Dr. Sheldon Eakins is the founder of Leading Equity Center. He's also the host of the Art of Advocacy live stream and the Leading Equity podcast. Furthermore, Dr. Eakins is the author of Leading Equity, becoming an advocate for all students. With over 15 years in education, he has served as a teacher, school principal, adjunct professor, and a director of special education. He's passionate, yes, he is, about helping educators accomplish equitable practices in their schools. He has a bachelor's degree in social science education, a master's degree in educational leadership, and his PhD is in K-12 education. If for nothing else, can we just give a rousing, silent cheer for Dr. Sheldon Eakins? How are you doing, man? How are you holding up these days?
Thank you. I love the introduction. I love the hype. Krista and Craig, thank you so much for having me. Craig, it's Eakins. I know it looks like Eakins. I know it looks like Eakins. I get it all the time. But it's all good.
My fault.
But it's all good. It's but thank you so much for having me on the show. This is such an honor. Y'all are like some of my favorite folks on earth. So thank you so much.
Feeling is mutual.
Yes, and I apologize. I did all my phonics skills and I kept reading it, and I'm like, I believe I understand how this thing go, but you know what? I do apologize because I want to make sure I honor the name you have been given and are giving back to the world. So I apologize, but we are nonetheless most impressed with being in your presence.
Hey,
And
listen, I'm listening to you tell about your pull-up story. I was there. I was there. When I couldn't do one, and then I got like the little bands. I use the little bands so you can kind of put your foot inside, and it kind of helps you assist you a little bit, and start working my way up. So things are a lot different now. But I suggest, just keep at it, man. You'll get there, man.
hey, man, I got a couple up today, but
Yeah.
it is something. I think we need to just go ahead and get on into it. I mean, what is I guess for this week or maybe for the last couple of weeks, what it have you been doing to take care of yourself? Because self-care is so important these days.
You know, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that. As far as I would say, I would even go back a little bit further. I guess within the last few weeks, I've probably been in my part of my routine. And I learned from my boy. I don't know if y'all know TJ Rumler. He's a good buddy of mine, and you know him, Krista.
He was on one of your
Yeah,
conferences
yeah, yeah.
put in live, and I follow him now. So if you're all not following him, he's really brilliant too.
That's my guy. And so he taught me. He put me on to having a self care plan because my thought was always basically, if something happens to myself, mental health wise or whatever, I'm struggling, anxiety, whatever it is, right? Because I get anxiety. So if I'm dealing with that, um, this is how you deal with it. But he taught me about having a self care plan, meaning this is something that you do every day to help mitigate those instances where you do need support or extra help. But at least you're working, like you're already working towards something, not waiting for something to happen, but you're being proactive, not reactive. And so for me, going to the gym, just trying to take care of my, health and fitness is really important to me. So like my diet, those kind of things are very important to me. Relationships with my kids, and then also relationships with like people. People don't know this, but I'm a very introverted person. Like I'm very introverted. And so I normally keep a very small circle of friends. And even that small circle of friends, I don't always talk to them and open up and then share. And this is what I got going on. So unless people are checking in on me, hey, Sheldon, I haven't heard from you. Are you good? Like, unless those kind of things are happening, I'm going to be to myself, and I'm totally fine being by myself. But I have started to open up a little bit more and reach out to people. Hey, listen, hey, can I get your feedback on this? What are your thoughts? Hey, this is what I'm struggling with right now. This is my situation. I've been more open than I was years ago. So when you ask me how have things been the last few weeks, I'm like, I just been maintaining this self-care plan, which has been very helpful for me.
I can really relate to what you're saying about being an introvert and kind of pulling in. I was just having a conversation with my sister via text today, and she's like, I love being alone, but sometimes I'm lonely. And I'm like, I don't really go to that side. Like I kind of just, but I call it turtling when I just kind of pull in. So if people don't hear from me for a little bit, it's like I'm just kind of, I have a word for it, turtling.
I like the word. I might have to use that. So I don't know if you're into astrology, and I'm not big into astrology, but I'm a Cancer, and so like I have a hard shell, and then I go into my, like that whole thing is
Yeah.
kind of. I looked up the stats, or not the stats, the characteristics of personality wise. I'm like, yo, that does look kind of like me. So I say I retreat into my shell, as a Cancer man.
Yes. Wait. Okay. So when's your birthday?
July 13th.
I'm July 3rd.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Wait, dare I ask you what year?
83.
Oh crap. Okay. Thinking of my kid now.
Okay. It's like, okay, we're gonna get quiet now.
I'm older. I'm like, ooh, okay. I'll put out there 77.
Okay, no big deal. Oh,
Yeah.
you don't look like it.
Well, thank you. I embrace every day of 45 years, going on 46.
There you go.
Trying to get smarter and learn more every day. I really liked what you said about your healthcare plan and being proactive, not reactive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we feel a lot the same when we're looking at like social emotional learning in schools and leading equity. Like these aren't things that are supposed to be responsive all the time. Like there's work we need to do to lay a strong foundation so that we can keep sustaining and maintaining. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna open up a little bit more. About 2 years ago, I separated from my wife. We had been married for 11 years, and I went through a hard time just under the circumstances surrounding it. And so as a result, I just like, okay, how can I be a better version? What can I do to get out of this, like mentally be able to move forward in life, put this chapter behind me and be able to move forward. So I really started to seek out self-help. I was usually one of those individual people that would like, I wouldn't want to read self-help books. I wouldn't want to read, I wouldn't watch YouTube videos and all that stuff because I was like, that's for suckers. Those are people that really need that help. And I didn't realize, shoot, I needed that help, but I was just being such a, I don't know, I guess a jerk or whatever, but I was like, that's not for me. And so I was like, let me tap into this. Let me see what counseling looks like. So I got me a therapist and started meeting with my therapist on a weekly basis, started finding books that dealt with my situation and kind of looking into that. And it was really helpful. Then again, I started also going to the gym and I started also again taking more I guess emphasis on like the way I dress, the way I, maintain myself physically and just grooming and those kind of things, just kind of just wanting to level up. And that to me has really helped. So talking to TJ was like the next level for me because I plan this whole event. So I normally do a virtual summit every January. It's what I normally do. And this year, again, I was going through some hard times. And so I was like, this time we're going to call it Educators Therapy because COVID's happening. A lot of us are dealing with stuff in our personal lives in addition to our professional lives as well, including myself. So people don't know this. Some of the episodes I do, some of the events that I do are very selfish. It's for me, but I want to share it with people. You know what I'm saying? That's how this is, right? So I did educator therapy for all the educators out there, but I was going through a divorce and I needed some help. So I was like, let me share this with folks, right? And so that's typically so I mean all the guests that I had during that event, I mean, they were awesome. And again, I'm asking questions for myself. I ask questions for myself with the idea that I'm going to share these questions. I'm going to share this content with the audience out there. But some of the stuff that I do, yeah, it's definitely for me because you see me on social, you see me on podcasts and all that stuff, but I'm a human being and I deal with nonsense. I got stuff that bothers me. I get anxiety. I'm very shy. I'm very introverted, all these kind of things. So I do a lot of this stuff to help myself. But then again, I want to share it with everybody else.
It's like that version of I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. It is. It's legit, like low key, asking for a friend. Hey, what are your thoughts on such and such? But it's really for me. It's really for me. I guess I'm, when I think about it, I'm fortunate to be in a position like that because not everybody. So I'm speaking from a level of privilege in that sense because I have a network and I know enough people. I have an audience and all these things. This is the work that I do. I'm known in certain spaces, and so I do have the advantage of being able to reach out to people in that capacity, and then again sharing it. But if I wasn't on a podcast, if I did have it, I don't know. I really don't know. So for those who aren't in the social space, sometimes I think about that. It's like, what do you do in your situation? Do you have people within your network or resources that you can go to or pull from in order to get the support, in order to get the help that you need? I mean, and even that sometimes not enough. I mean, we've seen recently several folks that, prominent status, celebrities, if you will, that have chosen to, take alternatives to living. And so as a result, we never know what people are going through deep down inside. And sometimes that could be hard because you see stuff and it's really shocking. And you're like, oh my goodness, I never thought, you seem so happy. You seem so great. But again, we're still human beings. We still deal with all these different nonsenses that impact our lives, and how we deal with those things can impact whether or not we, want to continue doing the work that we're doing, if we want to shift gears, if we, however we're going to respond to it is our process. So, again, I'm all about trying to help people as much as I can. I wish I could do everything for free. But this is how I got to keep the lights on at some point, kids got to eat. So, but this is what I'm very passionate about.
I would say, one, thank you so much for uh, daring bravely to share, some of what you shared here in this space. Um, I think before we kicked off, there's definitely some conversations about how are we navigating the tough stuff? How do you continue to be the face, of wellness and wholeness and be the, for me, being the avatar for the world that people have gotten accustomed to seeing, but knowing that sometimes we suffer in silence because we are not necessarily choosing to tap into our network, our village, or the tools that are afforded to us because I know for me, I don't want to let someone down.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want people to have some deep level of empathy for me and feel like, oh, woe is me. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'm doing enough of that for myself. Or that at least for me and me being a black man here in this America that we're in, that it may not feel safe to be putting that out, into the world. And we saw it with Switch, right?
Yeah.
There's so many examples of here we got all these people putting on this face, but underneath suffering inside. And so I really, my heart goes out to you as you continue to navigate your own journey. You are definitely beloved by us both. And we will continue to be a resource, but it's tough out here in these streets. So
It's hard out there in these streets. I was just watching what was it, Hustle and Flow. I was just watching that out there. But I'm much better. I'll put it there. That was 2 years ago. So I've like I said, I've put that chapter behind, and so I've moved on, and I try not to live with regrets in life. It's more lessons learned. So what lessons have I learned from these situations, these things, especially when it comes to circumstances that are out of my control? What can I learn from this process? So I'm a much better person, much better human being, but much better man, father as well. And I'm always constantly thinking, what am I bringing to the table with any type of relationship, whether it's romantic, platonic, whatever it is? What version are they getting? How am I presenting myself as a best version? Because I'm all about just, again, getting myself to the place I want to be at, and then maintaining that and seeing if I can grow throughout that process. But yeah, I'm in a much better place these days.
Glad to hear, man. Glad to hear. Well, I am also curious as you've navigated and continue to just not only navigate your own personal wellness and well-being journey and being an incredible father and continue to be an educator and leader and thought leader and someone who stands at with folks as a coach and just sometimes just being a village member. There's additional layers of work that we're doing in this humanity of ours where there are folks who are in classrooms who are trying to figure out, okay, how do I take care of myself, but also do right by the children we serve, or do right by the educators we serve, because some of them are, working in a role of a coach, or they may be a principal or assistant principal. They're working in communities that are supporting the educators as well. And so I'm curious from your lens and perspective of engaging. I mean, you almost have 300, episodes at this time, but I know you're constantly talking to different people about interesting things, and I know you are engaged with educators across this entire nation, the globe, really. I'm curious what you're hearing on the ground, in regards to educators who are trying to advocate for more social emotional well-being, or how are educators trying to navigate the complexity of culturally and linguistically relevant and responsive practices and equity and inclusion. So what are you experiencing in your work with educators and school communities these days?
It's interesting. In the beginning, like my first early episode, first 100 or so episodes were pretty much on the sense of urgency on certain topics. So everything was like, here's the issues in education. Here's equity issues in education. That was like a lot of the themes of a lot of my episodes. But then after a while, you start getting people reaching out to you like, okay, bro, we get it. There's issues in equity. However, what do I do? What are some steps? So I started getting people ask me for checklists. Give me the steps. Step 1, step 2, and I say, well, this is we're not baking a cake, right? So we I can't tell you do this, and then but voila, right? It doesn't work that way. But then folks keep asking more and more and more. What do I do? What do I say? How do I? So my mindset and a lot of the episodes that I had started shifting more on the advocacy work. So it's like, okay, you've already gotten a lot of foundational information. You've been following my show, or even if you just now, you can have an idea or a grasp, but these are some of the challenges. These are some of the issues that are out there. And now I'm going to really shift more gears towards the why or the how to address these issues. So a lot of times nowadays, people will reach out to me and ask me questions such as, here's my situation. And they'll tell me the whole story. They'll run the whole story down to me. This is what happened. What are your thoughts? What do you think I should have said? Can you give me some talking points? I'm not as articulate. I do know something's wrong, but I don't necessarily know what it is as far as what's wrong. Can you help me out? I was working with a gentleman this week, as a matter of fact, and he's in the process of becoming a school principal. He's getting his endorsement. So he's, kind of navigating the classrooms. And when he's a white man, and he said one of the things he said to me the other day was like, he said, look, I'm a white man, and I recognize that our Black boys are not being treated fairly. And he said, I have a teacher who has a classroom of kids, and she has two Black boys in that classroom. And I didn't want to perpetuate stereotypes. I didn't want to further enhance what is the issue within our school system, school to prison pipeline, and all these different things. However, it really did appear that these two boys were the culprits, if you will, that were causing the most challenges for this teacher. What do you think I should do? How do you think I can help the teacher? What steps would you take? What kind of advice could you give to me? So I gave him several different advice. I asked him, first question I asked him was, what kind of relationship do you have with those kids? Because that, to me, y'all are social learning folks. It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. I said, what's your relationship like? And he said he doesn't think he had a strong relationship. I said, give me an example of where you see students, those two boys or one of those two boys, that seems to be where they tend to not be as engaged in a class. He said, well, in music class. I said, okay, let's talk about music class. What kind of music or songs, instruments, or whatever, band, whatever y'all doing, what are they learning? Is it stuff that they could really resonate with? Is it stuff that is relatable to them? And he said, no. I said, maybe we can start there. This might be an opportunity for you to sit down with that child and say, hey, what kind of music do you like? Kind of music do you listen to at home? And can you teach us some of those songs? If there's dances associated with, can you teach? So this is a great way for you to develop relationships. So nowadays, Craig, as I get a lot of people that will reach out and say, this is my specific problem, or this is the challenge that I'm dealing with. Can you help me out? And so I tell people I don't do checklists, but I'm happy to we can unpack that situation. I can give you some tips. I can give you some strategies. Try these things out. It's not, I don't want to preach to people and just tell them y'all need to do better as educators. That's just not my goal. That's just not the type of trainings I do. I could do that, but I know that I'm not perfect. Even as a trainer, even as someone that does equity work, I know I mess up all the time. So my goal here is, okay, what strategies can I give you in your situations that's going to help you be better as an educator, and ultimately is going to positively impact our students?
When you just said that I mess up all the time, like that's how often I feel, like trying to lean in and continue to learn, you're going to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
we're human.
Yeah. And it's how to then use that to be better the next time. I think Maya Angelou talks about that. Like, do better.
When you know better, do better. And the thing about it is, and I tell people in my trainings, like, I've missed opportunities. I talk about advocacy work, and I talk about, shut it down, being a disruptor. These are the things I talk about. But you know what? I've missed opportunities. Stuff has happened to me, caught me off guard, because we're never ready. We're never just, on guard all the time. We're just ready for someone to do some injustice or whatever. That's not our day. I hope no one's living a life where they legit just always on the fence, ready to attack someone or address something that's going to come up. Hopefully you're not. If you are living in that type of situation, if you can get out of that situation, I recommend you do, because me as a black man living in Idaho, I don't even walk around town all the time just ready on guard somebody say something to me. I don't do that. But a lot of these things happen to us when we're not ready for them, when we're not prepared. Oh, I can't believe this person just said something very discriminative towards a student. Well, I can't believe this racism is like you're clearly being racist right now. I can't believe this is happening in 2023. So we're not ready. And I've missed opportunities. Right. And sometimes I'm kicking myself at night. Like, man, I should have said this. Man, if this has happened again, I would have gone back, and I've missed opportunities. I make mistakes too. But am I going to, again, kick myself and can't sleep, and I'm just going to struggle the next day because I missed an opportunity? Or am I going to take this as a learning experience, a lesson learned, so that I can say never again? Okay, I wasn't expecting this situation, this particular thing happened, but never again. I'm not going to allow these kind of things to happen again, that specific situation to happen again.
I think sometimes too that when I've worked with staff and they're like, well, I know this already. I'm like, knowing something is very different than being in the moment when the emotionality is very high.
That's dangerous.
And we're caught off guard. And so I think that's where it comes back to why we need to have these conversations, not to go out like always being on guard looking, but to think through how might you respond or how might you approach something. And I think it's also really important that you talked about earlier is it's not, when you're talking about the students, immediately pointing fingers at the students, but taking that opportunity to think, how might I be contributing to what's happening here? And so what are some alternative approaches I can use instead of expecting our students to be able to know and advocate for themselves while they're still developing?
Yeah, sometimes we do that a lot, and I've shifted my language. Sometimes just tweaking simple things. So we'll say, for example, a child is, their name is such, Michael, but really his name is John. But he goes through the half the semester, everybody's calling him Michael, and then you find out, oh wait, his name is really well. How come Michael didn't correct me? Well, instead, you could be asking yourself, yeah, how come he did? Did you create a space in which this child felt comfortable with correcting an adult, their teacher, if at that leader in their classroom, right? So just some simple things that I've learned throughout podcasting and the work that I do, just questions or making statements in your classroom. I invite you, students, to come to me and ask me questions. I invite you to ask for extra time. I invite you for this, or I invite you for that, as opposed to saying, well, you should have done this, or you should have done that. But have you created a space that is welcoming to your students, to where they do feel comfortable enough to approach you? Do your parents feel comfortable enough to approach you? Or again, are you operating in your classroom as the all-knowing, all-seeing individual in that classroom? And that can cause those challenges. And then at the same time, you still blame your kids. You still blame parents. They don't care. The parents don't care. The kids don't care. They're not engaged. They're just not a motivated student. This is a struggling student. But what are things that you're doing on your end that can help those students who are like your Sheldons, who are very quiet, very introverted people, or those individuals who might have a learning disability, or those individuals who have just other stuff, trauma at home? Just their household is not stable, and honestly, school is the last thing on their mind. I've seen that, but we don't know the whole story. We see certain behaviors, and we believe or perceive them to be certain things. That, well, this means something, and not really taking the time to get to know the kids or the families and really finding out what's going on. But you're not going to be able to do any of those things if you don't have a relationship with the kids.
Wow, I was just thinking about author Eric, I think it's Barker, who is the author of Plays Well with Others. And he talks about the real X factor, the game changer, is those relationships that you mentioned that teachers must have with their students in order for them to really see the change and be able to build incredible, not just incredible relationships, but have the capital that young person trusts them and will grow and be nurtured by them because they feel seen and heard and loved, and they know that this is a person who's championing for them. Another thing that I think about with it is, I'm going back to the principal or soon to be principal that you mentioned in the beginning of some of your thoughts, and you indicated that, hey, we have that, those two young men who are not necessarily connected or feel connect like there is someone or there are people there who are advocating for them. And it makes me think about Panorama Education had this article that talked about the 2 by 10 relationship.
Yep.
They said
I
that
told him
if you
about that
spend,
too. I told him about that, the
okay,
2 by 10. Yeah, because he
yeah,
didn't know.
well,
I was like, just 10 minutes, just
yes,
every day for,
mhm,
and if you just spend a little bit of time, just have like, man, listen, kids love to teach us stuff. That's one thing I've learned. Yeah,
yeah.
even as a teacher, you learn that, kids would love to teach you. If they find out you don't know something and they know all about it, man, you sit down and they will just tell you the whole history. And
Yep.
I've had conversations with some of my students about rock and roll and heavy metal. I'm like, I don't know any of this stuff, and like the kid would break everything down. I mean, he knew all the band members. He knew this was the third bass player for this band. This is the fourth drummer. He knew that, like, he knew all this. He broke it all down for me. And he showed me the music videos, and some of the music videos, to be honest, it was kind of scary to me. I mean, I saw all kinds of
Really?
666 and all kinds of devil stuff. I was
Oh.
like, yo, this is not my thing. Not my thing. However, this was my student's thing. And you could see the passion in his face as he's, hey, Sheldon, look. I mean, he's like, Sheldon, look at this stuff. Look at this part. Look, now watch the transition from this scene to the next scene. I'm just like, sure, but I'm kind of scared right now. But at the same time, he's taking the time to really teach me what he's very passionate about. So again, that 2 by 10, I told the soon to be principal about it. And I was like, this is an opportunity for you to develop that relationship.
One of the things I was waiting. Craig had a face on. I didn't know if he was getting ready to say something.
No,
Oh,
no, I'm good. I'm
and,
good.
and talk like your story about the music reminded me
Mhm.
a number of years ago. I had a session around music and perspective. And when I am listening to music, I really hone in on the lyrics
Mm,
and what the message is. And I never really understood like the screaming heavy metal. And I'm like,
mm,
but I got partnered up with, they said, partner up with somebody who likes a different type of music. And I explained, like, I don't like the lyrics. I can't even understand it. He goes, I don't listen to it for the lyrics. I listen for like the bass and the drum beat
yeah.
underneath of it.
Mm,
I'm like, oh, so like our approach and what we thought was valuable in music was very different, which led to our um, perception and our the likability of that music to us. And so that's always been a lesson that has stuck with me, that this is what I look for, but not what he's listening for and why he appreciates it so much.
yeah. I think having an open mind when it comes, like my daughter has introduced me to a lot of music that I probably wouldn't have listened to on my own. But now that I like some of the music. And again, relationship wise, considering, okay, when we're in the car, when it's just me, I'm putting on some heavy, hardcore Southern trap music. Like, I want to hear them talk about drugs and violence and gangs. Like, that's what gets me pumped up. That's the kind of music I grew up listening to. That's what I like. But I don't play it in front of my kids. My daughter likes certain music. My son likes certain music. So I put those playlists on when I had the kids in the car. But again, I'm starting, you start listening to those songs enough times that you start to know the lyrics. You start to sing the song. You start bobbing your head to the music and to the beat. And so again, giving me an opportunity to learn about different genres that I probably would not have listened to on my own, but I was open-minded enough to at least give things a chance. I am a person that says, how do you know you don't like something if you never tried it? So I'm all about that life.
Mm. Well, I spent a lot of time teaching from Tupac Shakur,
Yeah.
rapper.
Yeah.
And, one of the great pieces I love the roads that grew from the concrete. I feel like at
Mhm.
that time in my life, that was a very, it resonated a great deal for me. And I could understand the gravitas and gang life and whatnot for young people who feel like they're an outlier and are looking for a home. They're looking for a family. They're looking for connection. And that is important. And sometimes people want to look down on what seems to be like popular culture, but all of us are looking for connection, and we're looking for something that's luminous that makes us feel like we, are part of something greater. And so I'm curious, what would you consider to be your superpower?
I think at this point, if I was going to say, and I don't even know if you would count this as a superpower, but I'm really good with one-on-one conversations. It could be just, again, podcasting all the time. It's really helped me. I'm a listener. I'm not going to talk a lot, unless I'm on this side of the mic. But for the most part, I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to listen. So I've had a lot of people say, man, you're just a good listener. You always bring in a good perspective. Thank you for taking the time to just provide that empathy. So I don't think I'm perfect with it, but I definitely feel like I have a lot of empathy towards folks. I can't always relate personally, but I can at least listen to you and try to see things through your lens, through, probably what you're dealing with, or at least pull that out of you. I can ask those kind of questions to say, so I can get your emotional side and what you're going through or how you were feeling in this moment. And then I always ask, thank you for sharing. How would you like for me to take this feedback? Are you looking for support? Or are you just looking to vent? Do you want to just share it, or do you want us to come up with a plan? Where do you want us to go with this? Because sometimes I used to be on someone tell me something. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it. This is how we're gonna fix it. Right. And that may not be what they wanted. They might just they might just be wanting to vent. That's legit. They see me as someone that they can vent to. So I had to learn, okay, someone is coming to me. They're being vulnerable. They're expressing themselves. Now you need to figure out what's next for them, because I can continue to be a listening ear for you, or I can provide you with some feedback, or we can come up with a game plan together. I can give you some talking points. I can give you some tips, strategies, again, whatever it is. But you let me know what you need and how I can better support you. I think that would be my superpower.
I'm smiling because I'd say absolutely yes. Whether I've watched videos of you or had a chance to talk to you live or attended the therapy and the conference sessions that you have, or reading your book, I think that you'd have that way of connecting with people and inviting them in, and making it a collaborative learning experience, which I think is really important for us as adults, just learning and growing and learning how to better connect with students, so that they feel like Craig was saying, connected and valued and seen. One quick question before I know Craig is going to ask you a question is, yesterday when we chatted a little bit, you talked about different types of advocacy. Mm-hmm. Do you mind just mentioning those again? I had written them down, and I just think that was a really powerful takeaway that people could use. We've talked about some examples of how to connect with kids and to be able to advocate for their needs and their interests. And I really like the terms that you used.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's in the book as well. But an advocate is someone who recognizes that we do not live in a just society, and they're willing to stand up and speak up on behalf of others. They're not comfortable with the status quo. And so with that as the basis of your understanding or your philosophy when it comes to your role in education, there's three different types of advocates. So there's the bystander, the equity bystanders. That's the individual that goes to the trainings. Sometimes it's forced, it's a mandatory training, but they'll participate and they'll go. They won't be in there sulking, but they'll be there. Hey, I was here. I went. I did go to the trauma informed care practices training last week, so I'm good. I'm certified, right? But they're not going to do anything, right? Beyond that, the advocate is the individual that will speak up on behalf of others. That is the individual that will go to those trainings, that will try to read books, or that will further their knowledge and learning and be willing to speak up. Then there's the broker, the equity broker. The equity broker is an individual who might be or recognizes their position. So this could be a school principal. This could be someone in a leadership role. This could be someone who feels they have a leadership capacity, or people look up to them. Maybe they're the OG at the school. They've been there for 20 years. Maybe this is an individual who just provides who just has a clout, if you will. And these individuals are the ones who will connect other folks. So, hey, I have a student that is having some anxiety issues, or some ADHD, or maybe they're having they need some support in a certain area. Oh, I know an individual that can help them. And how do I connect the two of them? Right. That's that brokerage piece. So if I'm in if I have a network, so me personally, right, I try to be a broker as well, right? Because I get emails all the time. Hey, Sheldon, I need early childhood support. Hey, Sheldon, I need Spanish support. Hey, Sheldon, I need this, and that. Oh, yeah. Guest on episode 204. Perfect for you. Let me connect you. Okay. So that is the brokerage piece. So a lot of people try to, stay in the, at least the advocacy part at the minimum. Because I don't recommend just being an equity bystander. To me, if you're not doing anything about it, then what's the point? But at least if you're willing to speak up, and then if you can connect folks, that to me, the brokerage and the advocacy work they go together hand in hand.
Thank you. I think that's going to be a really important takeaway for people listening.
Thank you.
So we are, well, I mean, me and Krista know, but how can folks stay connected to you, man? What are the best ways to connect with you?
Everything's on the hub, leadingequitycenter.com. That's the best way to get in touch. I'm socials are Sheldon Eakins, and that's Eakins with an Eakins. Twitter, Instagram, you can find me there, and of course, you can follow the show, Leading Equity.
Are there any exciting summits or conventions or convenings that we should be looking forward to coming from you and your camp?
Oh man, if only people could see the face. We're not doing video anymore. But face.
I always got something cooking. I always got something cooking. So we got something coming out this summer that I'm working on. We just wrapped up our Amplifying Student Voices event, which took place in January. And so I try to do something in January, and then I always try to do something over the summertime. So I got a few things that I'm working on for the summer. I don't have enough information to share at this point.
Okay.
But you will let us know when you
I will let you know,
so we can help spread it far and wide.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, SEL and EDU family, it has been incredible. We are most hearted that we have Dr. Sheldon Eakins here, friend of the SEL and EDU family, friend of both Krista and myself. We are so honored to just, again, share space and time with you, sir. You are an amazing human being. This has been great.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right, SEL and EDU family. Until we meet again, we hope that you hold you and others dear. And you got to hold them tight. I almost started rapping, but that's not what we're supposed to do now. SEL and EDU family, we hope. I can't. Not
today. Got bars?
No, that is a whole nother podcast. SEL and EDU family, we hope you hold those you love dear and tight. And we are hoping that you will continue to champion the light. We love you. We will see you soon. You take care.